It's Wednesday, the 16th of May 2018, and welcome to Navigating Your Day. In Jinshin Jitsu, safety energy lock number 16 came into the universe meaning the basis for all human activities, breaking down old forms in order to have new ones. So the way in which I understand this is safety energy lock number 16 is based on the outside of the ankle. So it is near the foundation of our physical bodies, and so it is the foundation for all human activities. And it breaks down old forms in order so that we can adopt new ones. And really the only thing that is constant in life is that things are going to change. And safety energy lock number 16 helps us to break down restricted ways of thinking, of feeling, of being, perceptions, physical scars, emotional scars, mental scars. So it doesn't necessarily remove them, but it does actually help to soften that tissue. If you think about it in physical terms, it softens scar tissue so that the tissues can be more flexible. And in the same way, I believe that when safety energy lock number 16 is open, it softens our mental and emotional scars also. So it helps us to become more flexible in our thinking. It helps us to become more flexible in our perceptions. And by doing that, by increasing that flexibility, it actually helps us to forgive ourselves, or to see the other side, or to, what's the word? It's not negate what happened, because it'll obviously be something negative that'll create a scar. It's an injury that creates a scar, but actually helps us to become more flexible about that. So it prevents our perceived trauma from becoming permanent and rigid and making us rigid. So 16 is a 7, right? And 7 is about independent thinking. It's about taking the road less traveled. It's about not being part of the pack. So it's not about rebelling, but it's about truly accessing your unique individuality and expressing it in the world. So on one level, we are all the same. We are all connected. At the level of our essence, we are all the same. But each one of our lives is a unique expression of that soul essence of who we are. And very often we try to adapt ourselves in order to conform with the expectations of external authority figures. Those could be our parents, they could be our teachers, they could be our religious leaders, it could be our cultural norms or our societal norms, and we try and fit in. Whereas safety energy lock number 16 is trying to make us more flexible and connect us to that energy of the 7, which is the certainty of who you are, and that your unique expression of who you are is what the world requires. So 7 is the road less traveled. It is the independent thinker. 7 is also the spiritual seeker that asks the questions like, why are we here? What's the meaning of it all? What's the purpose of this? And for that reason, 7 is quite an introspective kind of number. It wants to be alone. It wants to have space in order to be able to connect to that part of ourselves that is vast, okay, beyond our physical being. And in order to do that, very often we need silence, and we need contemplation, and we need to create a sort of privacy for ourselves. 7s also don't like to have their business pried into. So today you might find yourself getting a bit testy about people possibly sticking their noses in where you don't think they belong. We've of course got the 5 of May. 5 is about adaptation. 5 is about changing. 5 is about adapting to change. 5 is about taking a situation and transforming it in a way that makes it easier for you to navigate. So that is a really good combination with a 7, which, as I said, is the independent thinker and the one that takes the road less traveled. 7s is a more introverted number, whereas 5 is a bit of a more extroverted number. So that's the one that can get us out of our shells, that can get us networking with other people, that can get us exchanging ideas, having conversations in order to find new ways to do what we want to do. And if that is expressing your uniqueness, then 5 helps you to become inventive and adaptable so that you can actually bring that expression out into the world. Of course, we've got the 2 from 2018, and the 2 is about balance, and it's about wisdom, and it's about appreciating that there are 2 sides to every story. And in fact, when we can appreciate that the balance exists everywhere, if we just know how to look for it, that also helps to make us more flexible. The 2 is a water number. It's about nurturing. It's about nurturing ourselves. It's about self-care so that we can actually then extend that care to other people. And it's about really, again, maintaining that balance. So 7 might make us want to introvert. 5 may make us want to get out there. And 2 says, hold on a second, guys, you need a balance of both. So that is what we have today. The euro of today is a 5. So today, when we have the 5 in the euro position, remember, it's what makes us inventive. It's what makes us adaptable. It's what makes us spark with new ideas. It's what makes us able to connect to the right people at the right time so that we can bring our ideas or our expression into fruition. 5's also highly intuitive, but it has a tendency to overanalyze. So we need to guard that against getting stuck in our minds today. Luckily, there's a fair balance of water and air in the life map today. So the air is the analytical thinker, the water is the feeler. There's not much earth, so there might not be much practical grounding. So it's a good idea to ground yourself today by walking outside, barefoot if you can, spending some time in nature if that's possible, or consuming root vegetables, warm foods, warm cooked foods. Those are all sort of grounding. Proteins are grounding as well, and that can actually help to keep our feet on the ground so that we don't get lost in our emotions or lost in our thoughts and have our minds run away with us. The villain today is a 3. Now, when we have 3 in the villain position, then we tend to be easily distracted. So we can get distracted with busyness. We can be very, very busy and not particularly productive. So do guard against too much time on social media. Of course, you need to watch this clip and share it with all your friends, but too much time on social media, too much time being distracted, doing low priority things that actually is not moving the needle of your life in the direction that you want it to go. So we might be slightly unfocused, and that lack of focus can then create some anxiety for us. So again, being able to ground ourselves and being rooted is a really good idea. Fortunately, we have Jinshin Jitsu to help us, and safety energy lock number 16 is located on the thumb. The thumb governs the earth element of the body, and that, of course, is grounding. The thumb also governs the stomach and pancreas organ function energies, and the stomach energy is the thinker, and the pancreatic and spleen energy is the feeler. So when we hold the thumb, we bring a balance between the thinking and the feeling, which is really relevant today because, as you remember, I said that we've got air numbers, which are thinkers, and water numbers, which are feelers, not too much earth happening, and so holding the thumb will help to keep us grounded. It also helps to harmonize worry and anxiety so that we don't actually get onto that analysis paralysis treadmill where we become completely overwhelmed by our thoughts and, if you're like me, the millions, cajillions of things that you have to do in a fairly short period of time. So I hope you have an amazing day. I had a good break from my clips. I'll be back every morning. I'll see you again tomorrow.